The big story in crypto is institutional adoption. That's still a trade that is gathering steam. Every statistic I look at says they're still buying Bitcoin, they're still buying ETH, they're still buying Solana. Until the data says otherwise, I'm not going to count this trade out. I would look at this sort of Bitcoin sell-off, this crypto sell-off we've seen this weekend as an opportunity as we move into October, which is historically the best month of the year for crypto.
Breaking news. U.S. lawmakers, we're talking about different members of Congress, including the chair of the Financial Services Committee, French Hill, is urging the SEC chair, Paul Atkins, and the SEC at large to implement President Trump's executive order, which will open up the 401k retirement market to cryptocurrency, meaning the $12.5 trillion invested in passive 401k accounts can now be invested into crypto. Passive, long-term, big money like this being opened up to crypto is significant. Knowing SEC Chair Paul Atkins, this is something he was going to move forward with anyway, but it's nice to have the strength and consensus of other members of Congress. If you're interested in making money in crypto, make sure you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. Wall Street institutions and people at large are aping into the Bitcoin and crypto ETFs. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is the fastest growing ETF ever. It's not even close. And with news like this, I expect metrics like this to continue. To go even further, Washington insider Dennis Porter says massive political news is coming for Bitcoin Tuesday that will reshape the trajectory of Bitcoin politics. This will be a defining moment. So what could this be? This sounds huge for Bitcoin and crypto in Washington. What could this be? It's got to be something big because it seems like there's even consensus by some of the most influential people in Washington. They agreed that this coming announcement is going to cause a seismic shift in Bitcoin politics. We're going to keep you informed as soon as this drops, so make sure you subscribe. There's a lot of speculation that it's going to be news related to the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Now, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve started with an executive order from President Trump. We're still waiting for an official Bitcoin bipartisan act to be signed into law by Congress. Hopefully this comes in the next couple of years. But a lot of people are expecting the US to announce buying Bitcoin in cost-neutral ways before the official act gets signed into law. There's a lot of reason to expect them to do this sooner rather than later, and that Trump will actually be interested in doing this because, as close friend Michael Saylor says, the US can make $80 trillion by establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Why wouldn't Donald Trump want to do this?
What I would say on this topic is the US could own 20% of the network like that for free. The dollar would strengthen, the nation would be enriched. And the real promise is if you own 4 to 6 million Bitcoin, you're going to pay off the entire national debt. You're going to neutralize it. We can generate a $50 trillion to $80 trillion benefit to the United States people, to the citizens, to the taxpayers, and we can do it simply by seeing the future. It cost $6 million to buy Alaska. The payoff was $1 trillion. Just like right now, you can literally buy it for a song and dance. That's the opportunity. The risk is that you wouldn't want the Saudis to buy it first, or the Russians, or the Chinese, or the Europeans. And there's only room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the United States. I think it will be the...
Good news. The worst month for Bitcoin historically, September, turned out to be the best September in Bitcoin history. Now, looking at the data going even further, every September that has been green for Bitcoin has been followed by double-digit green October. This is the monthly chart for Bitcoin. This is the September candle. It is still green. It's trading in this tight range right here. It can't close monthly below about 107. And it'd be even better to see a close over 116. But any green is bullish, and we're expecting a huge Q4 for Bitcoin. We're expecting a huge Q4 for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, quality altcoins at large. I love this insider info from 15 Billion Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan. He says crypto and corporate balance sheets will double over the next year. The data shows they're still buying Bitcoin, they're still buying Ethereum, they're still buying Solana. September has been bullish. Q4 should be even better. Listen for yourself.
The big story in crypto is institutional adoption. That's still a trade that is gathering steam. Every statistic I look at says they're still buying Bitcoin, they're still buying ETH, they're still buying Solana. Until the data says otherwise, I'm not going to count this trade out. I would look at this sort of Bitcoin sell-off, this crypto sell-off we've seen this weekend as an opportunity as we move into October, which is historically the best month of the year for crypto.
I'm going to quote Matt Hogan to Matt Hogan. There are now more than 180 public companies that have added Bitcoin to their balance sheet, according to BitcoinTreasuries.net. That sounds like a lot.
It's a down payment. I think that number is going up. You know, some of these companies are those so-called DATs, digital asset treasuries, that just buy Bitcoin for their balance sheet. Mackenzie is right that that momentum is somewhat fading. But on the other side of the balance sheet, you have a broader set of companies that, just like individuals, want to have 5 or 10% Bitcoin. Companies like Figma, companies like Block. I still think that corporate number is going to double over the next year or so. The amount of Bitcoin on those balance sheets are going to go up. And I think there's an even bigger story in ETFs, where the flows, from my perspective, are set to accelerate strongly into Q4. So I am still feeling bullish about this market. I take this pullback as an opportunity and not a setback as we move into Q4.
You can make even more money trading crypto. This is an exchange I like. This is the best deal I've ever seen by any exchange. $100,000 in trading bonuses. Anybody can take advantage of this, but you must act quickly. This deal won't be around forever. $100K extra in trading bonuses. No KYC. Make sure you use our Bitunix exchange link below. And yes, it seems like very important people are now finally admitting and revealing and disclosing their big positions in different altcoins. For instance, Anthony Scaramucci has always been huge on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and particularly Solana. So it's interesting. He is now apparently the chair of an Avalanche public treasury company. I believe that's the news today. So with that, now he's saying, I'm a big Avalanche believer. Yeah, I love Solana, I love Ethereum, but Avalanche, there's a lot of reason to be bullish on Avalanche. Listen.
As of today, he's also the new lead advisor of AVAX One. That's a company aiming to maximize ownership of AVAX, which is a native token of Avalanche. Just to confuse you a little more, the blockchain used by BlackRock and Visa. AVAX will be a NASDAQ listed, since it is the new name. Again, lots of different pieces to this, for AgriForce Growing Systems. Is that?
I mean, you've read that well. But
is that complicated for people to understand?
Well, it's complicated. To make it simpler, there's a couple of very good layer one technologies like Solana, Ethereum, and Avalanche that we believe are going to be the future of tokenization, and so we made a big bet on this alongside of HiveMind and the Avalanche Foundation. And we're going to have a digital asset treasury for Avalanche. It's a smaller token in terms of market cap relative to the bigger ones. But lots of big corporate CTOs, Andrew, are picking up Avalanche as part of their story to tokenize their funds or potentially even tokenize their stocks.
We just talked about BlackRock and Visa as examples of that.
JP Morgan.
And are they using that instead of Solana or Ethereum?
No, I think we believe in a multi-chain world, but I think what's interesting about Avalanche, they have something called subnets so that you can do some customization on the chain through the contract layering on the token. So it allows for people to sort of have their own digital fingerprint. I often say that Avalanche is like a Swiss Army knife of layer one, so it's got a lot of flexibility. So, well, listen, we like the other tokens as well.
The Bitcoin gold ratio is testing long-term ascending support. I'm expecting a bounce. Unless you think analog is better than digital, I'm expecting a bounce. And I'm expecting Bitcoin to end this year, sometime in the next few months, $150,000 price target. And that's also according to Anthony Scaramucci of Skybridge. Listen to his thesis.
Skybridge still maintaining his $150,000 price target for Bitcoin by year end.
What do you make of what's happening right now with crypto prices? They've fallen a bit, but obviously they were on a run also.
Yeah, listen, September's typically the worst month for the cryptocurrency businesses. Some of it has to do with tax selling. Some of it has to do with a big run-up that's taken place in the last couple of months, Andrew. But I think long-term, Skybridge still maintaining his $150,000 price target for Bitcoin by year end. I think it's just a function of the way things get bought in the industry. So you'll see November into December, I think, being good buying periods, and still a tremendous amount of demand for the assets.
What can you explain what's happening right now? Is there something that's actually happening?
No, I mean, you mean because we've got a 3 or 4% drop in the yeah. No, I mean, listen, it's just typical volatility. I think we've had a big run up. There's been a lot of positive announcements, and I think we're just churning a little bit. But again, there's been seasonality. If you look at the 15 years since the inception of Bitcoin, there's been September lows typically. So this is very consistent with that.
So much is happening in crypto. We keep you informed on a daily basis. Make sure you subscribe for more videos just like this.